All right, guys, this is Tony. I hope everyone's had a wonderful Thursday and you're getting your shakes in and your Fistics and your Digestion Plus. I know my kids are loving the shakes. I had a call last night with somebody doing the program, and I was so excited for her because she was telling me, she runs her hands over her stomach in the morning. She's like, it's gone in just a few days since she sent me her MSQ and her measurements. She said, I'm not bloating, I'm feeling great, and I think, it's coming much easier just knowing that why behind, why she's doing that from that disease delusion and kind of some of the things that we've been talking about. So that's awesome. So if you guys want to share with me anything like that, I would love to hear. So tonight we are going to be talking about the connection between food and health. I sent out a couple of slides, one document and the other one was a slide earlier today. If you have those in front of you, great. If you don't, it's not a big deal. You can always refer back to these calls. The phytonutrient document I sent has a handful of different, I guess they're both slides, but the phytonutrient one has several different ones in there because they go along with all of the different colors, the reds, the blues, the yellows, the greens. And this is what we were talking about on Tuesday night, the why behind, so kind of our food philosophy, the why, the what, the how often, the how much. Well, this kind of fits in that why. We need to know why we're doing what we're doing in order to help us be successful and to really understand that connection between food and health that we're talking about tonight. So I'm going to refer over to that. If you guys have it, you can do that. The first slide on there, is kind of what we're looking for throughout this program. We want to be eating colorfully. We want to make sure it's low glycemic. It helps balance our blood sugar and not spike it. We want to, look at frequency and timing. We want it to be balanced. We want it to be whole and fresh. We want to be mindful. We want to be relaxed, and food is definitely social. So think about all of those things. And then what I suggest when I meet with people about nutrition and health, I always suggest printing these things off. And I keep them in I have a 3-ring binder that I keep those plastic sheets that I slip recipes in when I get them. And so I have these in that binder so I can refer back and I can, help my kids learn this stuff as well. And it's a good reminder for me. But if you look at the reds, you'll see lycopene. You'll see on the left-hand side, if you're not looking at it, there's kind of this phytonutrient area, and then it tells you what phytonutrients fall within that red color. And then down the middle, you'll see benefits. So lycopene, for example, reduces the risk of prostate, breast, and skin cancer, also risk of heart attacks. On the right, then, you'll see all the stuff that phytonutrient is found in. So, tomato-based products, watermelon, pink grapefruit, fresh tomato, guava, red strawberries, sweet cherries, cranberries, beets, red apples, red cabbage. So lots and lots of different things. The next one is the orange phytonutrient. So, for example, it'll list on the left beta-carotene. And if you look in the middle, you'll see it's powerful antioxidant effects. So a lot of times you'll hear, that vitamin C is a great antioxidant. It boosts immunity, reduces risk of cancer, risk of heart attacks, maintains good vision. And then on the right, you'll see again what that's found in. So carrots and sweet potatoes and pumpkin and butternut squash, cantaloupe, mangoes. And this is the thing whenever the average person I see probably gets in about 2 servings of vegetables a day. It's not all that often that I see much more than that. And so when I say, well, how about, do you get in your greens, your colors, your greens, your blues, your oranges, for example, and they'll say, oh, I eat an orange every now and then. And so we always tend to kind of go to that, orange, but if you look in that found in section, there's so much more. So really, open your mind. And that's what I always say when people are going on kind of a healthy food, nutrition plan like this, they feel very like, they're restricted. And I always say, this opens your minds. It opens your palates to so many wonderful things that you wouldn't think of. So instead of just oranges, what about apricots? What about papaya? What about, yellow raisins or yellow pepper? Instead of just getting red, get some yellow pepper and throw that in there. On the next slide, you'll see the blue-purple phytonutrients. So anthocyanins, for example, they reduce the risk of cancer. Powerful antioxidants, again, reduces the risk of age-related memory loss, controls high blood pressure, diabetes complications, Alzheimer's disease. So if you saw what I posted on our Facebook page the other day, upwards of 88% of Americans fall short in this blue-purple category, and that's a huge deal when you're looking at dementia and Alzheimer's and things like that. Certain things are found in blueberries, blackberries, purple grapes. I even get, there's some organic carrots. Everyone always says, what's in your salad? And I get these organic carrots at Trader Joe's that are purple carrots, and they've got a beautiful yellow center to them. So you can get really creative on that. The yellow-green phytonutrients, you'll see lutein, zeaxanthin in that helps maintain good vision, and things like macular degeneration. There's a whole list of things found in kale, spinach, leafy greens, arugula. That's actually a great superfood. I add that to my chopped salads. It's wonderful. Also, like cauliflower, there's purple cauliflower. I know I just passed that, but you can get really, really creative with eggplant. Going back to that, the eggplant's white in the middle, and then the purple on the outside. So you get two of those there. The next slide is the white, the brown, the black phytonutrients. This is a great time of year to be talking about this phytonutrient, allicin, with the CIN at the end. It boosts immunity. You really don't boost your immunity, you balance your immunity, but it helps with cholesterol, high blood pressure, heart attack, the spread of cancer, particularly stomach and colon. We've talked a lot about garlic, onions, leeks, scallions, chives, and things like that. Mushroom, that was in the disease delusion. So lots and lots of wonderful things. And I think the thing to remember with all those colors that we just went through is that it's all, you get your biggest bang for buck when they're all mixed together. That's most important as far as our health is concerned. So that's why I mentioned the eggplant. You're kind of getting two there with the white and the purple. Dr. Bland, I mentioned this in that presentation as well, his biggest discovery in all 40 years of his research, 40-plus years of his research, is how he discovered that phytonutrients, those chemicals, if you'll recall, we talked about that, they're those things that have evolved over millions of years in plants to protect them, and in turn they protect us. So they can't run from bugs. They can't hide from, the sun or jog down and get a drink whenever they want. They have to be strong, and so they continually evolve to create these phytochemicals or phytonutrients, and in turn those things protect us just like they protect the plant. And those things actually communicate with our genes. So food really is information that can turn bad genes off and good genes on, or vice versa. So I always teach my boys, I pack their lunches every night, what they don't eat when they get home. If they leave a blueberry in there, or a tomato or whatever it is, I teach them that really matters. And I pull those pages out and show them, if the blueberries, for example, they know about, if you ask them, even my 5-year-old could probably tell you, I don't know if he'd get the 88% right, but he would say, mind problems, or, I kind of converted into their language. So, and like I said, it helps me remember too. So you really do know the why behind what you're doing. So refer back to those sheets and use them as you wish. The next slide, this turning off the cancer-causing gene slide, if you have it in front of you. If not, you can refer back to it. But this is a study. I love this slide, and I love this study. I've used this for a long time. This is actually a study that Dean Ornish did in 2008. Dr. Ornish is the founder and president of the Preventative Medicine Research Institute. He's really, really known for his work in and around lifestyle medicine. So if you look to the right all the way over, those little letters, CPNEA, PPIC, all those things down the right-hand side, those are cancer-causing genes. And like I said during the disease delusion, we're all walking around with these things, these cancer-causing genes in us, and it just kind of depends on what gets turned up and what gets turned down or off. And these on the right happen to be cancer-causing genes that have been, you'll see back on the left then where all the red is, have been turned on, so to speak, or upregulated because of lifestyle. This was actually a pilot study done on a group of men looking at prostate cancer, but that said, Dr. Ornish does point out that the implications might be much more widespread, and not just for men, because two of the prominent cancer-causing genes that happen to be listed on the right side of that slide were actually suppressed by these lifestyle changes that I'm going to talk about. And it turns out that they are found in most kinds of cancers, including breast and colon. So again, the implications may go far beyond just colon cancer, or prostate cancer. So again, on the right are cancer-causing genes down the right, and you can see that these men were on the standard American diet. We call that, we don't call it SAD for no reason. So standard American diet, kind of shopping in the middle of the grocery store aisles, if you will. No supplements, no exercise, really high-stress jobs, no meditation, kind of that average American man, if you think. They were put on a program then, and on the left, so you'll see most of that is really red and turned on, if you will. And so then they were put on a program that consisted of a very high vegetable, low meat, bad fats, nutrition plan, supplemented with fish oil, selenium, C, vitamin C and E, things like that. They then walked or worked out for 30 minutes 6 times a week. They did yoga stretches, breathing and meditation sessions for every day to work for an hour every day to work on stress. And then they also every week they took part in a 1-hour kind of group support session. And after just 3 months, the genes were downregulated or turned off, as you can see on the right. And all those cancer genes have been turned off. So lifestyle changes lead to the switching on of tumor killers and the turning down or off of tumor promoters. And this is really huge. And this is why we need to be talking more about prevention and not just a cure. Dr. Ornish goes on to say, we found that simple changes have a powerful impact on gene expression. People often think they can't do anything because it's all decided by their genes, kind of what we were talking about during the disease delusion. We used to think, 70 to 80% is just, if my grandma got it, I got it, so what's the point? And, genes may be our predisposition, but they're not our fate. They don't have to be our fate. Ornish's biggest surprise with this study was how little time it took for the changes to show. People are usually unmotivated to change because, they think it's going to take forever. They think the benefits aren't going to, they're just not going to see it for a long, long time. And these changes occur so quickly, you don't have to wait years. I mean, we're talking weeks. We're talking 12 weeks. That's huge. That's, imagine changing the trajectory of your health, and life in such a way in just 3 short months. And there is no pill out there that will do that. I was going to share with you briefly, and I have her, I'm not going to use her name, but I have her permission. It was a patient of mine just over a year ago that I had, and I'm actually going to use her for my official certification through the Institute for Functional Medicine. You have to have, a real clinical or, a case that you've done from beginning to end. And she was about 51 years old, and she had come in for the first time, and she had ulcerative interstitial cystitis. I had never seen that, but it was an autoimmune condition where her immune system was attacking her bladder, and it was building up horrible scar tissue. She was having ulcers removed from her bladder about every 6 months. She was on 5 different pain meds, relaxation meds for her bladder, was having horrible pain when she would have stools. She had to be on a bowel regimen because any bulky stool would trigger severe debilitating pelvic pain. And her doctor was at kind of his wit's end, and he said, we're losing your bladder, and we need to put you on an immune modulator drug, basically that would shut down her immune system or turn it off so it would quit responding in such a way. And she was and on top of all of that, for years she had been just peeing white blood cells. So her urinalysis, when she would do it, would have lots of white blood cells in it with all the immune activity going on in that area. So she had come in and she was crying, and she said, I just don't know what to do. My doctor wants to put me on this med in 3 weeks, and I'm scared to tell him no, but I don't want to lose my bladder either. And so the only thing I did initially, I did, one functional kit, a test that I do to look at, it's kind of an advanced GI test to look at her GI, but I figured, based on our conversation, it wouldn't be completely out of whack, but I started with food, and I did, I prescribed her, if you will, the elimination nutrition plan, and I said we have to figure out what is making your immune system turn on or ramp up. And that was the only thing I did for her at that time other than some labs and some other things. And she was desperate enough to do it, and she kind of doubted me. She said, in 3 weeks, I said, if you do this 100%, you'll know. And she said, in 3 weeks. And I said, you'll know. So 4 weeks later, she comes back, and I walk in the room, and she's bawling. She's crying. And I thought, oh, no. And so she stood up and gave me the biggest hug, and she said, I not only told that doctor no, I told him hell no. And I said, well, what happened? And she said, Toni, I am off all 5 of my meds. I am having normal stools. She said that happened within 3 weeks, and she said, I did exactly what you said. She said, I got rid of all the, high inflammatory foods, and she said, I was at a Royals game. This is when they were doing really good in Kansas City last year. And she said, 21 days in, I had a piece of cheese and at a Royals party. And she said, within 10 minutes, I was slammed with that old familiar pelvic pain. And she said, I knew right then. And she said, I can't do cheese, I can't do milk, but I can do some Greek yogurt. And I said, you're learning your body. No test, no doctor, I don't care who you are, can tell you that. I've had people say, papaya gives me brain fogginess and just weird things that no test would ever be able to tell you. So she said that the crazy thing is that she grew up a dairy farmer's daughter and was drinking milk from, day one and never suspected. She said, I always thought maybe wheat and gluten, but I would try to get off and that wouldn't really do a whole lot, so then I wouldn't stick with it because I didn't feel the huge difference. And that's because we've got to get those pots that are boiling, if you will, our immune system, to calm and cool before you can really know what's going on. So anyways, she was a happy camper, and I actually had only seen her once since, and she said, do I need to come back? And I said, no, not unless you just want to see me. So anyways, okay, moving on. I love that story. And there's more where that came from. That was just, that was a really good one. So, all right, we're going to talk about eating out and on the go. Some of you may travel for work or maybe, getting out after the holidays to kind of see family when it's not so crazy. When we're on the road, it can be a really dangerous place for our health, though. So think about, restaurants, bad restaurants, airports, mini bars, gas stations, things like that. Our health, every time we step out of our, kind of normal controlled environment, we're really at risk, and we really do need to be prepared. So it is possible, though, to eat healthy when you are on the go. You really just have to know, kind of channel that hunter-gatherer and know where to go and what to do and always plan ahead. So mid-December, some of you may or may not know, a friend of mine asked me to do a 10-day detoxification plan with her to help, support her through it. And, of course, I said yes. And then I realized after I committed to it, maybe we were a day in, and we ended up having our Christmas work party where everybody brings, it's kind of a big potluck. Everybody brings something delicious. And then I ended up traveling to my in-laws in Memphis, and we always go out to eat with the family. And I thought, oh, this is going to be really, really hard. And it turns out, I was committed, and it turned out it was really quite easy. So I always suggest if you're driving, know your route. So I know when we go every year to Memphis, I know where to stop on the way, and sometimes we'll have to drive out of the way if we want to hit a Chipotle or, something somewhat healthy. Chipotle has hormone-free meat. We can get extra like fajita veggies on there. I get half the amount of brown rice, if any rice at all. You can always get the guac. If you're out and about, know the healthy restaurants in your area. I've got 3 little boys, so we have to think about that too. And they are super healthy as well, but I know Pie 5 has gluten-free pizza. Sometimes we just want that pizza night, obviously not during our plan for this 30 days. This is kind of beyond the 30 days. But salads, there's always salads available. Unforked, Cafe Gratitude is around here. There's a new healthy restaurant popping up all the time. I know we've got someone on from California. There's healthy restaurants all over, probably where he is. So lots and lots to choose from. But in general, when eating out, many restaurants actually have their menus online, so you can go ahead and look at the restaurant before you ever go there. You can look at the choices and kind of pick those healthier options. And even most unhealthy restaurants have a garden salad. You can always add a grilled chicken breast, and, you may not be getting the hormone-free, blah, blah, blah. But if that's the last resort, it's better than, a quarter pounder or something. And then you can always get the salad dressing on the side. If you can, the olive oil, balsamic vinegar sort of dressing is best. Restaurant menus can be confusing. If you don't know how something is cooked, just ask. I had someone, this was a gal I was seeing, sort of a newer person, and she was very offended, when some of these suggestions were brought up, and she said, I don't want to be one of those people, who were really picky and ask questions in restaurants. And my response was pretty simple. If you care about your health, you have to be. If you want to feel crappy, then you're going to choose crappy food, all at the risk of offending someone, I guess. The way I look at it is if I'm paying them and I care about my health, then it shouldn't matter. You really have to learn to be the change that you want to see in the world, and that includes restaurants. When I was in Memphis during that 10-day detox, the Big Pyramid there, I don't know how many people are familiar with that. They have a restaurant at the top of that, and I got very specific. And then, we were going to go out to eat with my in-laws, and they chose an Italian restaurant. And I said, no, I don't think so. So we changed it to, I think it was J. Alexander's or something, and they had fish on the menu. So, there's fish and steamed broccoli. But there was really nothing else. But I did see that they had other meals that they were serving avocado with and cabbage and stuff like that. It wasn't a side option, but I thought, heck, doesn't hurt to ask. And so, I asked. I said, can I get a side of that, just maybe some sliced up avocado and some shredded cabbage or something. And they were more than happy. She said, absolutely. And, it ended up being a wonderful dinner. So never hesitate to ask. You're the paying customer. All right, some bad things to look for when you're out and about. Fried, battered, creamy, crispy, breaded, smeared, smothered, anything like that's probably not a good choice. And also good words are more like sautéed, grilled, baked, broiled, blackened, steamed. Protein suggestions, chicken, salmon, fish, steak, add a veggie to that. If, fries or rice or baked potatoes on the side, just ask them to change it out and give you an extra serving of, steamed vegetables in its place. I always say it's better to eat more vegetables. Just make sure to ask that they're, not being sautéed or, dunked in unhealthy fats or something like that. They can always steam them. If I get a salad, always get the dressing on the side. Always make sure you know what the dressing is or what's in it. I mean, even places we went to, my kids wanted to go over the holidays to, what's that place? The Buffalo Wild Wings. And they even have a very good gluten-free. They knew exactly what dressings were gluten-free. So I don't think this is so foreign. I started this gluten-free thing about 7 years ago, and it wasn't near where it is today. So hamburger salad, that's what my kids, when we're on the road, if we go somewhere and we're, in the middle of nowhere and we have to go by somewhere, we don't get the buns. We ask for the lettuce, the lettuce leaves and the tomato and the pickle, and we just cut it all up and eat it as a hamburger salad. Drinks are something that we can easily control. I mean, if you're, ordering sodas, that's something that you just don't order. Order water. Who doesn't need more hydration when they're traveling anyway, right? That helps with bowel movements and things like that. So if you're traveling, driving, or even flying, you can carry an orange or a lemon on the road. Berries. Berries might be a little bit more difficult than just throwing an orange or a lemon in, but you can add that to your water. Remember, drinking those phytonutrients makes you drink more water. It's good for you. When you're out at dinner, well, not for the plan, but, you can always grab a glass of red, if you have to drink when you're not on the plan, a glass of red wine is best, but no alcohol for now. Always pack an emergency food pack. This is really important, especially when traveling. If you know you're going to be gone for an extended amount of time. I know when we take the boys to their wrestling tournaments, we're usually gone for a whole day during the weekend, and we do not want to rely on the donuts and pizza and all the crap that they're serving at the tournament. So things that last forever. This is I'm going to post. I hope I can find this link that I know I have it somewhere, but it was him, kind of Dr. Hyman, packing an emergency food pack. So I'm going to try to post that on the Facebook page. But canned wild salmon or sardines, or I even have a smoked trout that I absolutely love from Trader Joe's. That's a wonderful, I had that for my breakfast even during my 10-day detox. It's delicious. Flax or seed crackers jerky, so like bison, grass-fed beef, or turkey. You got to be careful on that jerky because that can there can be some questionable ingredients in that. Salmon jerky, if you guys haven't ever heard of Vital Choice, that's kind of a really cool place to order a lot of this stuff from, and if you don't have somewhere close or handy, somewhere that's healthy. Nuts and seeds, so almonds, walnuts, pecans, pumpkin seeds. Let's see, nut butter packets. You can buy those little packets of, almond butter, for example, or macadamia nut butter. Protein bars, you got to be really careful about the sugar. The sugar intake from those things, it can be really high. But Raw Revolution is one of the protein bars that's okay. Artichoke hearts, there's usually a pop top on those things. I love those things. Roasted red peppers. And again, if some of this you're going, ugh, how does she eat that? We're going to talk about that. As you reclaim your taste buds, they've been hijacked from you. And so I always say, we're like babies. Babies, it takes, I think they say 12 times before they'll like something, and you don't give up. And, as adults with checkbooks, who pays the grocery bill? Who makes the meal plans? We do as adults. And so we don't have somebody kind of going, okay, you have to try this 12 times before you like it. And so we'll talk more about that on one of our calls, but just be open to the idea. I know I was talking to the gal I was mentioned earlier last night, and she said that very thing. She said, I loved mushrooms as a kid, but I hated them as an adult. And she said, I listened to what you said, and I'm really going to try to reclaim my taste buds. And she said, I made this particular recipe that I had posted on the Facebook thing, and she said, I thought, what else can I add to that to make it, kind of some of the healthy things that Tony suggested, and she threw in mushrooms. She said, all right, I'm going to just try it. And she said her family, before she got to the table for her portion, they had taken all the mushrooms, almost all but like 5. And so she tasted it, and she loved it, and then she was really mad that they had taken them all. So, just keep trying, and maybe if you don't like something one way, like if you don't like pickled beets, well, just try roasting them and throwing them in a salad, or, get creative. If you don't like them cooked one way, you may like them cooked another, because there's also there's nutrient benefits to different ways in which we cook things as well. So, and I'll share one of those examples with you during our detox talk at the very end. So, all right, easy to prepare on-the-go snacks, garbanzo beans with olive oil, like a squeeze of lemon, maybe some garlic and salt. Hard-boiled eggs. That's easy to make a bunch of those on Sunday night and kind of have to snack on. I mentioned the smoked trout already. Hummus. You can even get those little single-serve packets. I've seen them, I think, at Costco that are really easy to carry around. Cut up carrots, cucumbers, peppers, celery, put them in little Ziploc baggies with, your hummus, or apple or pear. Apple dipped in, one of those nut butters really balances that sugar intake. Treats, dark chocolate, 70% and up. Break up and put it in like a little glass container in the freezer, and then whenever you're, if you're a really big sugar head and you're really addicted, like most people in America, you can take one of those out when you're really craving something and just suck on it. The dried figs and dates. Keep them also a good stock in your pantry, so then you don't have to go shop for it and go, oh, never mind. You can just kind of throw them in your bag. I know at Wrestling Meats, we just kind of go through the pantry and pick up anything that, we had from the week prior or the couple weeks prior and throw it in there. So, again, I'll post that food emergency pack from Dr. Hyman as well. And let's see. I thought I was going to tell you one more thing about that meal. I'll think of it probably one of these calls. It'll come up. Okay, so the Tuesday, just so you know, January 10th call, and I'll put this out on Facebook and email it to you guys as well, but that January 10th call, I'm going to have to move that to January 11th, which is a Wednesday evening. I forgot that I'm set up to do a presentation at my practice that night all about detoxification, so I'm going to be doing that. So I'll just have to move it. And it'll still be recorded, so no big deal if you can't make it. And that's that sugar and wheat call, which is a great call. So, all right, I think that does it for tonight. I will talk to you guys all. I'll send this link out, and then I'll talk to you guys all next Wednesday. So keep, drinking your shakes, and that was the other thing. So if you get in a bind and you can't eat breakfast, remember those shakes are the substitute. So breakfast, dinner, just make sure you're throwing a lot of stuff in there, a handful of spinach, get your veggies in, get, some healthy fats and things like that in there. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. And all right, I think that's it. I'll talk to you guys all next week. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.